Hey everybody. What I got to talk about today is a little more serious. As I'm sure everybody's aware, we suffered another great mass shooting in Florida. It's saddening. It's devastating to the families, I'm sure. But once again, the blame is placed in the wrong place. If you've read my blog, if you've watched any of my vlogs, you know that my main mission is to at least put a crack in the stigma of mental illness. Well, it seems that the government, well, this administration, a few other Republican leaders, have seen that the blame needs to be placed on the mentally ill. That we don't deserve the right to own firearms. As I will show you in this article and this one, that the stigma of mental illness is once again very alive and well. Here's my problem with it. As it showed in that one article, I mean, if you limited everybody with mental illness or even seen a therapist for anxiety and depression, there'd be a lot of police officers that wouldn't be allowed to own firearms. There'd be some of our military that wouldn't be able to be near a gun. The problem is not mental illness. Many of us who are mentally ill are not violent. And if there is any violence to be shown, it is only towards ourselves, unfortunately. Self-harm and suicide are far more common than violence towards others. Yes, something must have went wrong with this individual who went after the school and shot these people. Mental illness may have played a part, but something else must have triggered him. There's a very fine line that they're about to cross. And you're talking about banning millions upon millions of people from owning a firearm. Just because I am diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I would not be able to own a firearm, which I do. I have no intent of hurting anybody or anything of that nature. Over the past few years, I have shown interest in learning how to hunt. My boyfriend's a hunter, and I thought, hey, something maybe we can get into together. And when I first shot a pistol, I was intrigued. I liked it. I'm not a bad marksman or woman, however you want to say it. It's a hobby. And yes, in times of darkness, those guns have tempted me to do things to myself. And because I'm not shamed in my household or by my boyfriend, I have confided in him that those thoughts were in my head. And he has locked the guns up, locked the ammunition up, and made it completely unavailable to me. The problem in our society is not necessarily guns, because I don't believe that any stricter gun control could necessarily help anything. I think if you got much stricter with it, the only people that would have guns are those that shouldn't have them, the criminals, the thugs. I've mentioned before that I fall on the liberal side of things. However, when it comes to guns, I am a true believer in the Second Amendment. I believe that we have the right to have guns and to protect ourselves and to hunt with. I don't believe we have the right to go shooting up places, and I believe it has become almost second nature for anyone, the police, regular people, anyone, to shoot first when something goes wrong in their lives and ask questions later. It's become a societal problem, not a gun problem, not a mental health problem. And if you are to shame mental health even more by denying them their rights, it's only going to set us back even further. What the answer is, I'm not sure. But it infuriates me that because I've been diagnosed and I'm being treated for mental illness, that I might not be able to own a firearm in the future. Not saying that this is going to go very far. There's always a lot of talk after mass shootings about what went wrong and how we can fix it, and there's really never any answers, but our stigma only gets greater. This doesn't help anything. It only serves to hurt. It only makes that person who is suffering from depression or anxiety or whatever they may be suffering from, it makes them not want to get help. It makes them afraid to get help. That makes them dangerous. But it makes them dangerous to themselves. Our suicide rate goes up. And I just don't see how this is the answer. It's sad what happened. It's sad every time it happens. It's sad when it's a single person shooting. It's sad when somebody gets shot, period. But it's no reason to pick on a certain group of people. "9/11 happened, so let's pick on and weed out Muslims, you know. Yes, ISIS is a threat. We realize that every day. But discrimination against certain groups of people is not going to help anything. And discrimination against the mentally ill is only going to make more people who may be mentally ill not seek treatment, not get help. It may be their life that is now in our hands because we chose to single them out. It's not easy to live with a mental illness. I mean, the mental illness enough alone is torturing. It's mind-boggling. It's living inside of your own head, and it's terrible. But then you get the added stigma. You get people who think you're crazy, or they don't understand it. And it makes you want to hide. It makes you want to not tell anybody what you suffer from, and that makes the pain that much greater. It's not easy to come out and say, I have bipolar disorder. I've suffered hallucinations. I've wanted to kill myself. It's painful. But the more I say it, and you see that I'm sitting here and I'm alive and I'm well, and I'm working through it, and I'm gonna be okay, maybe that, just that, is enough to help somebody else see it's not so bad. Yeah, there's gonna be people that tell you it's in your head, but it kinda is. There's gonna be people who tell you just get over it. There's going to be people who tell you you don't need meds, you don't need this, and you don't need that. The truth is, it's all your choice. I mean, I myself have went unmedicated. I don't go to therapy. This and my blog are my therapy. People fear what they don't understand. And the more we make them understand, the less they will fear. It's the only way we're going to even put a dent in the stigma. Preventing millions of people from owning firearms because they have a medical condition. That's not going to help anything. But as always, my thoughts are with the people in Florida because it's tragic. It really is. I feel for them. But it's our society that has made it possible for this to happen. And it's our society that has to change. We need to learn to care for one another, not point fingers, not place blame, take care of each other, look out for each other. So, as usual, thanks for listening to me rant, and I hope you take care of yourself.